I had an interesting experience as I was walking out of the Wal-Mart. I'm not sure what it is about it, but it tends to attract a lot of beggars. Now, I know a lot of people have varying opinions on beggars. But I'm not going to get into that right now. But I am just going to talk about my experience. The first person, as soon as I was walking out, she's sitting on the. By the way, this is the Walmart at the intersection of Dundas and Clark. And it's actually dusk right now. It's not even like late at night. It's pretty much, almost at simple twilight. Although I'm not sure, what. The sun, I don't think, is half. Motorcycles. I don't think the sun has set so that half of it is underneath the horizon yet. That's the point that's used for VFR. When the sun is 30 minutes after the sun is halfway beneath the horizon is when when day VFR ends. So if you have a night VFR rating, then you're fine. But if you're just a day VFR, then it's not legal for you to be flying anymore. So, but anyways, so it's around, it's around civil twilight. I'm not sure exactly. So this girl is sitting on the curb right across from the exit. Clearly, her intention is to accost anyone who, as soon as they exit, and beg them for money. And she's sitting on the curb with her cardboard sign, and she's asking me if I can spare any change. Well, I actually legit don't have any cash on me. Legit. I only carry a card around town. I have access to any ATM I need, if there's any issues. I do keep cash on me if I'm going to go for a long trip, because sometimes you don't have access, or if I'm traveling by flight, I travel with cash on me. But, just around town, I just generally don't keep cash on me. I don't need to. I get, I get rewards when I use my credit card. I have my debit card. So there's just simply not so I don't have any cash. So I do the, shake my head no thing and continue on my way. And she mumbled something, and I don't know what she said. I wasn't going to engage her. I really had no desire to deal with that shit right now. Because they like to emotionally manipulate you. They like to guilt you into it. Which leads me to my next experience. I'm halfway to my car. I hear this guy behind me be like, excuse me. And I don't turn around at first, but he keeps on doing it. So I figure, okay, he's trying to get my attention. So I turn around, and he starts off with this bullshit line, hey, do you know what the time is? I don't know what time it is. Do you know? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. My phone's in my bag. I don't have a watch on me right now. I'm not sure, dude. And he didn't take that as a hint. He kept on asking, and I see him holding his fucking phone in his hand. And I'm like, well, your phone has the time on it, just look at your phone. So he's holding it in his hand. The screen is on at the time. And he's like, oh, I don't know. I don't know how to do that setting. I'm not sure why it's not, working, but my phone's right now says it's 6:44. And so I'm like, all right, fine. So I pull out my phone and and look at the time, and I told him the time, and then he's like, oh, okay, thank you. So after I've answered that question, he hooked me, and then there's the real question, and the real question is, oh, all the banks are closed right now, right? Like, do you know if there's any banks open? I'm like, dude, it's Sunday at 8:30. The only bank that's open, as far as I know, on Sundays is TD, and I think they close at like 4 or 5 on Sundays, which he probably already knew. But I tell him anyway, and he's like, so they're all closed. And I'm like, yeah, they're all the tellers are closed. He's like, oh well, I got my I don't know what this is, but he said he's got his Works Canada check that he needs to cash, and he needs like $25 or something. And after all of this, it comes down to he basically is going around the parking lot asking people, knowing full well that the bank's closed. So he tells me, like, oh well, I called my sister, but she couldn't do it because she's in labor. Like, wow, man, really, really convenient. Like, there's your reason why you need it. I mean, maybe she is, but I mean, my bullshit detector is pretty good, and my guess is that he doesn't even have a sister, and if he does, she's, not in labor. But that's the reason he gave me, and so she's in labor. He called his sister, but she can't because she's in labor. So he's looking for someone who can help cash his check, and he's like, oh yeah, the ATMs, they do it. Like, you can cash a check at an ATM. I'm like, in my head, like, dude, I am not cashing this guy's check into my bank account. He asked me, like, what bank I used, and I'm like, I have like 3 or 4 different banks I used. There's like 5 major banks in Canada. I have like 4 of them. The only one I don't have is I have a business account, BMO. I have TD, Scotia, and CIBC. What's the other one? There's one more, RBC. I don't have an RBC account. So, I told him, like, yeah, I've got I have accounts with like 4 different banks. And he's like, oh, I think that you can cash the checks at the ATM. And here I think I'm thinking he's talking theoretically, right? And then I realized, no, he's like asking me, like, if I could cash his check at an ATM. And at that point, I was like, yeah, I don't feel comfortable doing that. And he's like, oh, okay. But, like, dude, I'm sitting in this parking lot, standing here in the parking lot for a couple minutes dealing with you leading up to the ask. Just start out with the ask. Like, you don't need to butter me up. Just let me know immediately whether or not I feel like talking to you or you're worth talking to. Don't waste my time. Just come out like the girl on the curb. Just come out straight up. Just straight up ask me for money. Don't butter me up. Just ask me for it, and I'll tell you whether or not I'm going to help you out. So those are my 2 experiences within the course of about 5 minutes walking out of Walmart. But such is life at Walmart on Dundas and Clark in London, Ontario.